Is Geoffrey Verity Schofield a weak little man? Why do I have better lifts than him? Well, admittedly, I'm a much smaller dude with a less impressive physique than him. Let's dive into it. Hey all, it's your boy, John Atala, certified personal trainer. And I recently watched a response video between Steve Shaw and Geoffrey Verity Schofield on why Geoffrey is considered weak according to Steve. Let's play a clip from Steve Shaw.
I'm going to ask the question, why is Geoffrey Verity Schofield so weak? And people will look at my mass, some people look at Geoffrey's mass, and they'll say, hey, your arm sizes are about the same. Why is Geoffrey so weak? Why did it take you, why did you have to build so much more strength than Geoffrey to build equivalent arms? Maybe there's like a secret way where you don't have to get super strong, like you, big, hairy, ugly dude, to build big arms like Geoffrey. Why is Geoffrey benching like here and the big, hairy, ugly dude's like benching right here? It doesn't make sense. You know, is something broken? Is something wrong? Nothing's broken and nothing's wrong. For about the first 4 years of my training, my strength level was about the same as Mr. Schofield's.
So this is really the gist of Steve's video. The comparisons between him and Geoffrey when Steve was a younger lifter should not be compared. Steve has very impressive strength standards now, and he is an old veteran lifter that many lifters will never be able to compare to when we have been lifting for less than a decade, and Steve has been training for multiple decades now. So he inherently has much more time in the gym than people like me. Comparing physiques based on timelines might make a little more sense, but at the end of the day, we are still each on our own path and we have different training variables. Training for maximum strength is very specific, while training for hypertrophy is also very specific. The two do overlap, but if you want to be optimal in either or, your methods will be different for either strength or hypertrophy. And Geoffrey dives in this as well, that specificity makes the difference.
First, let's start with specificity. So powerlifting, it's a skill. Squat, bench, deadlift, you want to optimize your technique to lift the most possible amount of weight one time for a 1 rep max. So in bench press, this might mean optimizing your technique a lot. I don't do that. Squat, same thing. Maybe you take a wider stance, go down to barely parallel. I don't do that either. On deadlift, you might, again, try to optimize your technique, use a special bar, all kinds of stuff. I don't do that either. I usually deadlift from a deficit, actually.
Managing your fatigue is also different, as well as your volume, focusing on RPEs. Your training splits will be different. So all these different variables can give you different results depending where your goals are for your lifting goals, which are all great points. Training mainly for strength versus training mainly for hypertrophy have overlaps, as I said, but they have also different methods. These methods produce different results despite using the same tools. And Geoffrey has definitely focused on the hypertrophy side of training versus maximum 1 rep maximal output. But here's a man with close to 17-inch arms, as he is stated in this video, who can't bench, squat, or deadlift more than me when I don't even have 15-inch arms without a pump. He's about 40 pounds on me at the time of that video a month ago, and granted he is taller so he will naturally weigh more, but still, many would think Geoffrey would be able to outlift me on any given lift based on our looks alone. But I think Steve and Geoffrey have missed one important topic, which is why are we even considering Geoffrey weak in the first place? The land of 14-year-olds on steroids lifting more than I might ever dedicate time to, I understand that Geoffrey numbers look very unimpressive. A 500-pound deadlift is considered normal now, even though many lifters never achieve this, and many who do are just bloat monsters at the end of the day. You rarely see aesthetic guys be able to lift 500 pounds in your gym. And if you have, it's very rare. A 4-plate squat is considered nothing now when 19-year-old girls can squat damn near close to it who weigh 50 pounds less than me and they crush it. A 3-plate bench is considered nothing now since most fitness influencers have this, including myself, and I don't even seriously compete in bodybuilding or powerlifting. So it is the average now, at least what you see on the internet. So the question becomes, is Geoffrey actually weak, or are we just suffering from overexposure to the internet? Is our attention towards the top 1% of strength athletes warping our perceptions, or is squatting 4 plates cleanly actually unimpressive? I would bet we are just suffering from overexposure. Talk to anyone who doesn't lift and say you picked up 500 pounds, benched 315, or squatted 405. Have you ever seen their face? They look Wow, holy shit, you're strong.
Wow.
People aren't in this space that often. To a normal person, you are strong. The idea that Geoffrey is weak seems silly to me saying that. Despite him not training for strength, he is not weak. I bet many of you would want those 1-rep maxes, and many gym goers, if they had that, would be ecstatic. To hit those numbers, even if you train more for strength, still would take a substantial amount of time to hit if you spent the time in the gym. Most men never even make it to a 2-plate bench that you look at in the gym. It took me 2 years of actual solid training to hit a 2-plate bench considering where I started from. And if you include all the years of stupid training I did, it might actually be closer to 5 years of training in the gym. Geoffrey's numbers don't make him weak. The specificity of his training has not pushed him in the direction of powerlifting totals, but despite that, he's still able to hit decent numbers many guys would still love to have. In the giant sea of the internet, Geoffrey and I are considered weak, but in real life, in your community, in your local gym, there's a very high chance we would be one of the stronger guys in your gym, if not the strongest guys in your gym. Assuming you're not at a powerlifting gym, then our totals would really suck. But that's most likely not the case. But besides that, our standards would be considered very admirable to people who don't really consume fitness content all day, which is who most people that actually watch fitness channels are. People seeking good training advice that want to get into shape, get bigger, and get stronger. Don't get your expectations and your reality warped by what you see online. If Geoffrey is still on his path towards a 3-plate bench, a 4-plate squat, and a 5-plate deadlift, I don't see why he won't be able to hit these numbers this year given his baseline of muscle. I mean, one of my first videos was last January of me wanting to hit the same goals, and I did it with a much lower amount of muscle as my baseline. Either way, Geoffrey, if you see this, I wouldn't really consider you weak. I would just consider our standards out of whack. I think Jeff Nippard's How Strong Should You Be video should be a pretty solid for strength expectations for you in the gym, and I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to intentionally cap out your strength and not focus on 1-rep maxes to focus on other goals when you hit this intermediate phase in Jeff's video. That is still going to need around 2 years of dedicated work for the average person to hit, so that's still a lot of time in the gym. All 3 links to Steve Shaw's, Geoffrey's, and Jeff Nippard's videos will be in the description. My free ebook is also in the description, and you can check out my lifting progress from this playlist. Peace!